Now, typically, I like to be politically correct at all times. 9 times out of 10 in a day, I consider myself a reasonable guy. But this time, I decided to do a special uncut version. And you know what? This one's even straight off the top of my head. Not much editing is going to go into this one, fellas. So here we go. Nice and raw. Now, first things first. Let's take a good look at what Michael Pachter's track record has been. Now, you know, and it's not just Pachter. I've wanted to talk about this subject for a long time, and the hypocrisy of the social and gaming industry as far as their own personal agenda to destroy Nintendo. Now, we've heard the conspiracy theory before from multiple people about how Nintendo generally never receives legitimate, proper press in their favor. It just doesn't seem to happen for whatever reason. But the problem is analysts like Michael Pachter, as well as IGN, Kotaku, and the endless amount of people online that support this facade that is the Sony experience. Face it. There hasn't been a company that has performed this badly, hell, since Sega. And frankly, Sega went out of business. So the very notion that Pachter could even remotely say that Nintendo's in disarray and that they don't know what the heck they're doing. Alright, cut the shit. The bottom line is this. You have a group of investors that you work with that you are trying to do your best to dethrone and protect their interest in Sony. And let's break it down. If you were a Nintendo fan, and you know, some of you guys who are in your 401ks and who actually know a little about the stock market, let's go into that realm. If you invested in Sony 10 years ago, you're shitting bricks right now at the amount that you've lost financially in your pocket. Now, it's probably safe to say Michael Pachter was one of those analysts who always encouraged Sony stock. And now all of a sudden with Sony's collapse, these guys are trying to figure out what is the best course of action to repair the damage. You see, anyone who's invested money in Nintendo back in the days, before this resurgence of the power of the Wii, thanks to the Blue Ocean strategy, but that's already been covered before, Nintendo stock was relatively at a lower point. GameCube had underperformed. So naturally, of course, anyone who invested their money in Nintendo at that point saw a huge return. However, the opposite can be said too. If you were stupid enough to buy Nintendo stock at its peak during the Wii, no shit, you've lost some money now that there's been a recycle, a refresh imminent. New consoles approaching. You can't buy stock at the pinnacle peak of it and expect to have a nice return. Just doesn't happen. Back to what I was going to cover originally. Kind of gone all over the place, but anyway, this subject just kind of gets under my skin. Michael Pachter, a man who I've often watched on Bonus Round, and I watch how the hell did he even manage to get his own show. I'm convinced, as I said in my previous video, that you are in the closet a Nintendo fan. Because you're too damn smart to sound so stupid. So the only thing that I can conclude is you have a vested interest in Sony performing well. Naturally, the past 10 years have shown Sony doing well up until this last cycle, where Sony started to fall apart, not only at the console level, but at the handheld level as well. And the only company that continues to remain consistent, if not revolutionary in their innovation, is Nintendo. Now, I imagine that's hard to swallow. You put all your eggs in one basket and now you're having to eat a little crow. Well, guess what? Too bad, so sad. And if we're ever going to see decent journalism, it needs to start at the freaking top. Companies, the Kotakus, the IGNs, and the list goes on and on and on and on, need to actually report the information the way that it should be reported. I've ranted on long enough, but you get the gist of my complaint. I get so sick and tired of reading and hearing reports from jackasses who don't know what the hell they're talking about. And the sad thing about it, no, let me rephrase it. They know exactly what they're talking about, but they're having to turn the other cheek to save face with investments. That's my thoughts on the subject, uncut style. And if I offended anyone, I don't give a damn.